You think you know terror. You think you understand what it means to face an unstoppable force. Let me tell you about the day we learned that humanity doesn't just fight back. They rewrite the rules of war itself. This is the story of how one human female dismantled our entire military doctrine in less time than it takes to finish a meal. My name is Vex'tharon, and I was there. I wish I hadn't been. The distress beacon screamed across 17 star systems before anyone bothered to check what the fuss was about. That was our first mistake. The second, assuming the human vessel limping toward the neutral zone was actually damaged. I commanded the patrol frigate Galtharan's Fist, third in a formation of 12 warships tasked with enforcing the quarantine boundary around Sector 88. Humans weren't supposed to be here. Humans weren't supposed to be anywhere near here, actually. But 3 months prior, someone in the Galactic Council thought it'd be hilarious to give them provisional trade access. Spoiler alert, it wasn't hilarious. Sir, the human craft is approaching the boundary line, my tactical officer, Rin Mora, announced. She had this annoying habit of stating the obvious, but her aim was impeccable, so I tolerated it. Hail them. Standard quarantine protocols, I said, settling into my command throne. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the interior of what looked like a cargo hauler, held together by optimism and duct tape. Whatever that substance was. Humans used it for everything, apparently. The face that appeared made 3 of my crew members hiss involuntarily, not because she was frightening, mind you. Quite the opposite. The human female had dark hair pulled back in a practical knot, eyes the color of Earth's oceans according to the database, and an expression that suggested she found our entire military formation mildly amusing, like we were children playing dress-up. This is Captain Kai Storm of the independent vessel Wandering Star, she said, her voice carrying that peculiar human accent that always sounded like they were chewing on gravel. We've suffered engine failure and require temporary dock permissions for repairs. I glanced at Rin Mora. Scans. Minimal life signs. 1 human aboard. Cargo hold appears empty. Engine signatures are inconsistent with failure, sir. Of course they were. Captain Storm, I replied, making sure my translator caught the appropriate tone of bureaucratic indifference. You are in violation of Quarantine Directive 774, Alpha. Power down your vessel and prepare to be boarded for inspection. She smiled. Oh, that smile should have been registered as a weapon of mass destruction. Well, that's awkward, Storm said, leaning back in her pilot's chair like she was discussing the weather. You see, I'm actually on a pretty tight schedule. Medical supplies for the colony on Helios Prime. Kids dying of corroding fever. You know how it is. Negative. All cargo must be inspected. Power down immediately, or we will disable your ship. Disable my ship. She raised one eyebrow, a peculiar human gesture that somehow conveyed mockery, challenge and amusement simultaneously. With those targeting arrays. Please, I've seen better weapons on civilian shuttles. Rin Mora's scales flushed an angry purple. Sir, permission to demonstrate our capabilities. I should have said no. I really truly should have said no. 1 warning shot across her bow, I authorized. The tactical display lit up as Rin Mora engaged the forward plasma cannons. Beautiful arcs of superheated death lanced through the void toward the coordinates 500 meters ahead of the human vessel. Standard intimidation tactic. Worked every time. Except Storm's ship moved. Not fired thrusters. Not engaged evasive maneuvers. Moved. Like it had simply decided to be somewhere else, and the universe politely agreed. What in the 17 hells? I was on my feet now. Sir, I don't understand. She shouldn't have been able to react that quickly. Our targeting computers have a 0.2-second computational advantage over any known civilian navigation system. Storm's face reappeared on screen, and she was laughing. Oh honey, she said, wiping a tear from her eye. You really thought that was going to work? Let me explain something about humans. We don't play by your rules. We don't even play by our own rules. We make it up as we go and hope nobody notices. This is your final warning. I growled. Stand down or be destroyed. Counter-offer, Storm said, and her smile vanished, replaced by something cold and calculating. You let me pass. I don't embarrass you in front of your entire fleet. Destroy her, I ordered. All 12 ships opened fire simultaneously. Enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. The tactical display became a Christmas tree of death. If humans celebrated Christmas in space, I later learned they did, which seemed inefficient. Storm's ship danced. There's no other word for it. The wandering star moved through our attack pattern like water through a sieve, spinning, rolling, executing maneuvers that should have liquefied any biological pilot from the G-forces alone. Our targeting system screamed in protest, unable to maintain locks, unable to predict, unable to comprehend. She's toying with us, Renmora whispered. Then Storm fired back. I'm not sure what I expected. Maybe a few desperate laser bursts, perhaps a lucky missile hit. What I didn't expect was for her cargo bay to open and deploy what looked like a swarm of angry mechanical insects. Drones, my sensor operator called out. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Sir, they're everywhere. The drones were small, fast, and apparently very opinionated about which ships deserved to keep their shield generators. Within 30 seconds, 7 of our vessels reported critical system failures. Within 60 seconds, we were down to 4 operational warships. And Storm hadn't even scratched the paint on her hull. Cease fire, I shouted, but it was too late. The drones had attached themselves to our hulls like parasites, and I watched in horror as they began cutting through armor plating with surgical precision. Storm's face filled the screen again. Hour 1, she said conversationally. I've disabled 2/3 of your fleet. By hour 2, I'll own your entire sector's airspace. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to clear me for passage. You're going to do it with a smile. And you're going to remember that humans don't negotiate. We simply win very, very slowly, until you think it was your idea. My tactical officer looked at me. My sensor operator looked at me. Even the junior maintenance tech, who had no business being on the bridge, looked at me. Clearance granted, I said, tasting defeat for the first time in my 30-year career. Storm's smile returned, warm and friendly like we were old companions. See? That wasn't so hard. Oh, and Vex'tharon. Next time you see a human ship, maybe just wave. Her transmission cut out. The wandering star accelerated past our crippled formation, and every remaining sensor tracked her until she vanished into hyperspace. In the silence that followed, Renmora finally spoke. Sir, what just happened? I collapsed back into my command throne, suddenly feeling every one of my 53 cycles. We just learned why the Council quarantined humanity in the first place, I said quietly, not to protect us from them. To protect them from accidentally conquering the galaxy before lunch. The emergency council meeting convened 6 hours after Storm's little demonstration. I say meeting, but really, it was more like a therapy session for traumatized military commanders. 12 ship captains crammed into a virtual conference space, all of us looking like we'd been chewed up and spat out by a malfunctioning food processor. Admiral Torvax appeared on the central hologram, his crest feathers drooping in what I'd learned to recognize as extreme displeasure. The kind of displeasure that ended careers and started court-martials. Explain, he said. Just that one word. Somehow it carried the weight of 1,000 death sentences. I cleared my throat, which came out more like a nervous chirp. Sir, the human-designated Kai Storm breached the quarantine line using unconventional tactics. We attempted standard containment protocols. They proved ineffective. Ineffective, Torvax repeated, his voice dripping with the kind of sarcasm usually reserved for cadets who confused the airlock with the bathroom. Captain Vex'tharon, you had 12 ships. Military-grade vessels equipped with the finest weapons our civilization has produced over 6,000 years of warfare, and you're telling me one human in a cargo hauler made you look like hatchlings playing with their first flight simulator. That's an accurate summary. Yes, sir. Another captain, Jex La from the destroyer Wind's Vengeance spoke up. Sir, with respect, this wasn't normal. Storm deployed technology we've never encountered. Her drones bypassed our shields using frequency modulation that shouldn't be possible with human engineering specs. Oh, it gets better, I added, pulling up the tactical recordings. After she left, we analyzed the drone attachment points. Want to know what we found? Enlighten me, Torvax said. They didn't damage anything critical. Every single drone targeted non-essential systems, life support, shields, weapons, engines, all untouched. She took out communications arrays, targeting computers, and navigational sensors. She specifically chose to humiliate us, rather than destroy us. The silence that followed could have smothered a supernova. She's still in the sector, I continued. Long-range probes tracked her to the Helios Prime colony. And according to our intelligence assets there, she really was delivering medical supplies, for free. The human actually risked interstellar war to deliver medicine to aliens she'd never met. Torvax's crest feathers stood straight up. You're telling me this wasn't even a military operation, this was a charity run? Yes, sir. Storm apparently does this regularly. She's got a reputation across 15 systems as some kind of rogue humanitarian. Pirates avoid her, smugglers respect her, and legitimate governments pretend not to notice when she violates about 60 different laws per parsec. Where is she now? That's the problem, sir. We lost her. Torvax's expression suggested he was reconsidering his entire life's career choices. Lost her. She broadcast on open channels before leaving Helios Prime, said, and I quote, "Thanks for the escort, boys. Next time bring better ships." Then she vanished. No hyperspace signature, no ion trail, nothing. It's like she folded space itself and stepped through. Jex La leaned forward. Sir, permission to speak freely. Granted. We're outmatched. Humans have been in space for what, barely 200 years. We've had faster-than-light travel for millennia. How are they already better at this than we are? I've been thinking about that question for 6 hours straight. Because they don't think like us, I said slowly. We plan, we strategize, we follow doctrine developed over centuries of conflict. Humans? They improvise, they adapt. They look at our 1,000-year-old military textbooks and use them as kindling. Storm didn't beat us with superior technology. She beat us by refusing to play the game the way we expected. So what do we do? Another captain asked. Before anyone could answer, every screen in the conference suddenly went black. Then they flickered back to life, showing Storm's face. She was eating something that looked disturbingly like it might have once been alive, seated in what appeared to be a tropical beach environment. Sorry to crash the pity party, she said cheerfully, but I've been monitoring your encrypted military channels for the last hour, and honestly, you guys need better firewalls. A first-year hacker from Earth could break this encryption with a decent laptop and spite. Torvax looked like he was having a stroke. How did you access this frequency? Trade secret. Look, I'm calling to make things simple. I'm not your enemy. I'm not here to start a war or conquer your precious sectors. I deliver supplies to people who need them because somebody has to, and your bureaucratic nightmare of a government takes 6 months to approve a single shipment of antibiotics. Kids die while you argue about tariffs. You violated quarantine protocols, Torvax said stiffly. Your quarantine protocols were designed to keep humans contained because you're terrified of us. I get it. We're aggressive, unpredictable, and we have a bad habit of solving complex political situations with creative violence. But here's the thing, Admiral. Her expression hardened. You don't get to tell me where I can or cannot go. You don't get to decide who lives and dies based on imaginary lines drawn in space. And you definitely don't get to threaten me without consequences. Is that a threat? Torvax demanded. Storm laughed. No, Admiral. It's a promise. You leave me alone, I leave you alone. But if you send more ships after me, if you interfere with my deliveries, if you harm anyone I'm trying to help, then I'll show you exactly what one motivated human can accomplish when she stops being nice. We have entire fleets. And I have creativity, spite, and a really concerning amount of explosives in my cargo hold. Your move." The transmission cut out. We sat in stunned silence for approximately 30 seconds before Vex'tharon started laughing. Just full-body, uncontrolled laughter that bordered on hysteria. "She hacked our military network to threaten us while eating lunch on a beach," he wheezed. "This is my life now. This is what I've become." Torvax looked at me. "Your recommendation, Captain." I thought about Storm's smile, about her drones, about the fact that she'd disabled 12 warships in under an hour without breaking a sweat, and then delivered medicine to dying children like it was just another Tuesday. "Let her go," I said. "Update the quarantine protocols to include an exception for verified humanitarian missions. Storm gets a pass, and we all pretend we won today." "That's surrender," another captain protested. "No," I corrected. "That's survival. Humans are coming, whether we like it or not. Storm is just the preview. Imagine 1,000 of her. 10,000. Fighting them would be like trying to box with a hurricane. You don't win. You just wait for it to pass and rebuild afterward." Torvax considered this for a long moment. Finally, his crest feathers settled into something resembling resignation. "Very well. Captain Storm is hereby granted provisional access to restricted sectors for humanitarian purposes only. All patrol vessels are ordered to maintain observation distance but not engage. And someone get our cybersecurity department on the line because apparently we've been using military encryption designed by incompetent fools." The meeting adjourned shortly after. As the other captains disconnected, I sat alone in my command chair, staring at the sector map. Storm's last known trajectory was marked in red, pointing toward the galactic rim where 3 colonies desperately needed food supplies. My communications officer approached hesitantly. "Sir, there's an incoming message. Audio only. It's routed through so many relays I can't trace the origin." "Play it." Storm's voice filled the bridge, warm and amused. "Hey Vex, hope I didn't get you in too much trouble. For what it's worth, you're smarter than most. You figured out the important thing. Humans aren't your enemies. We're your future neighbors. Might as well get used to us. Oh, and tell your admiral his encryption really does suck. Seriously. I've seen banking systems with better security. Storm out." I couldn't help it. I laughed. "Sir?" my communications officer asked nervously. "Set course for the nearest starbase," I ordered, "and someone draft a message to headquarters. Subject line: Humanity. Why fighting them is a terrible idea. I have a feeling we're going to need new protocols for dealing with this species." As the Galtheran's fist limped toward repairs, I pulled up Storm's file one more time. Age 32 Earth years. Occupation freelance logistics specialist. Threat level: previously listed as moderate, now updated to catastrophic. But there at the bottom of her profile, someone had added a note in the comments section. Dangerous, unpredictable, impossible to contain. Recommend peaceful coexistence. Also, she bakes excellent cookies. Seriously, try the chocolate chip. I closed the file and smiled. Hour 1, she'd defeated a fleet. Hour 2, she'd owned our skies. By hour 3, she'd changed our entire military doctrine with a smile and a handful of drones. Humans. Absolutely terrifying. Completely unreasonable. And somehow, against all logic and sanity, exactly the kind of chaotic good the galaxy probably needed. I just hoped we survived the introduction period.